Hey everybody, I'm trying a side view this time, see if it works. This is for 9/11 and we're determining if a point is an outlier. The assignment is outliers practice. It's the first page. I actually just want you to tear out the second page and recycle it. So an outlier is a point that is very different from all the rest of the points. There's two ways you can determine if a point is an outlier. So they both come down to this way. They both come down to finding an upper and a lower boundary. And you can kind of think of it as like the lower bound is an imaginary line. It's not a point. It's an imaginary line. And the upper bound is an imaginary line. But points inside of those two lines are not outliers. Points outside of those two lines are outliers. So my favorite rule is the IQR rule. Remember, the IQR is quartile 3 minus quartile 1, or that box part of a box plot. So to find your lower boundary, you take Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR. That gives you your lower imaginary boundary. Your upper boundary is Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR. Remember, these are different numbers, Q1 and Q3. Don't like put them in there or something. And then the standard deviation rule. You have the mean minus 3 times the standard deviation. S stands for sample standard deviation, to get the lower, and 3 plus to get the upper. And if those are your two outlier boundaries. I did an example on the homework. So this is number 1 from the outlier practice. And hopefully this will work. Perfect. So that's Q. I plugged all that stuff in my calculator, did the stats edit, and then I put them all in, then exited out, did 1var stats. So stat calc 1var stats. I found all these good numbers. The mean, S with a little x below it, that's the standard deviation for the sample. Q1, Q3, I'm gonna move this. So then I plugged stuff in. Q1 minus 1.5 times the IQR, which is 10.5 minus 7.5, get the 3, that's where the 3 comes from for here. Did that, got my lower boundary, just plugged it in my calculator. Did Q3, remember those are different numbers. I saw so many people put them as the same. Q3 plus 1.5 times your IQR to get the upper boundary. And then I looked at all of them and I said, okay, do any of my points land out of bounds? I saw 21 was higher than 15. And so it's definitely in that upper range. Like if this is 15, that's our imaginary line, 21 would be somewhere up here. So 21 was an outlier according to that rule. I did the same thing, mean minus 3 times the standard deviation, using those two values that I got. Found a lower and upper, and those ones surrounded all the points. This is not resistant, meaning outliers really throw this one off a little bit more, whereas the IQR rule, outliers don't throw you off so much. So that 21 actually makes this one not include outliers. This is a little more forgiving than this one. IQR is my favorite. I want you to practice both. So the rest of them, you can give it a shot. Thanks.